We got big homie celebrity Bodyguard here to break down some big reveals. Welcome to Popcorn Planet's The Interview. I'm Andy Signore. So honored to have here big homie. Big homie, how you doing, man?
Salute to you, Andy. I'm doing really good. Doing really good. How about yourself?
I'm so glad to have you, man. A lot of people, I've been meeting a lot of people in the space, and they all speak so highly of you, my man. They love what you're doing. They love that you're for the victims. You're for women. You're for stopping these nasty celebrities. So thank you for all that, and thank you for being here. And I'm glad we get to break down some of your story. For those of you who haven't seen it, he's done some great interviews out there already, but hopefully this will be even better. We're going to talk to him and get to all the skinny of his background. I'm going to ask him about some celebs and stuff as we get there, but I want to start just explaining where you come from for those that aren't familiar with you. You played football, right? Retired, got into security business, and you were speaking out against Diddy back in like 2013. As I've recalled in the research, you were at a Diddy event, and at that Diddy event in Chicago, something was off, and you knew immediately, oh no, this is not a bad dude. Can you sort of explain why you were one of the early ones back to sort of call him out and what happened there?
Yeah, so he was booked to host an event at a nightclub called The Vibe on Kingsbury. And whenever stars, celebrities would come through and they would be booked to be there, I was head of security for the venue, and then I would be assigned to the talent for the entire time we're in the city. So I ended up at one of these events protecting another client. And whenever you see the guys coming out collecting people's cell phones, and you see the dude asking people to sign NDAs and stuff like that, you automatically know that the party is going to take a lascivious turn for sure.
So you were feeling that there was phones being taken, something was going down. You weren't feeling this was a secure, safe place to be.
Yeah, because at a lot of these events, there's different layers to the party. So the first majority part of the party was a normal socialite mixer, drinks flowing, well put together party. It's just that once they begin to usher people into other rooms, and you can't get into here unless you put your cell phone in this bag, stuff like that, that compromises security. Because for me to adequately mitigate risk, I have to identify all threats. And just the cutoff of communication, immediate red flag.
So is it safe to say, because now you're a celebrity bodyguard, you rep a lot of celebrities, and you were repping celebrities, that's part of the reason you were there. Is it safe to say that at a Diddy party, Diddy's really the only one who's safe and the rest of the celebrities are all at risk?
Well, that's a good way to put it. I never heard anyone put it that way. But, you can kind of tell when someone's trying to get some over somebody else. So if a person like Combs could get you in a compromising position and he's got it filmed, he can call you later down the road like, yo, remember that party we had? Remember how crazy he was getting? Yeah, I need to get this person signed to this label. Can you help that out? That's how I feel a lot of those favors get honored.
Yeah, and we're hearing more. It's interesting. Precious Muir was on. She was at these parties, and she talked about it as phases of the party. And she had the same instincts you had, which is like, I'm not getting involved. I'm here. I'm paid to be here as sort of for the liquor brand, to be the model. And she had the wherewithal, very intelligent, well-spoken woman who's just had the wherewithal to know, oh, I'm not going to those phases, as she called it. So that was clear to you too. There are people that clear. I guess that's what's so telling to me, is that she reaffirmed this, and I'm curious your thoughts. Everybody knew when you go to these parties, if you're not a complete bozo, it seems like it's pretty clear. There's levels, there's phases, there's stuff going down, and you either are in and you're going to go down there, or you're forced to go down there, or you say no, 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 and get the heck out there. Do you feel like a lot of these celebrities, it was pretty clear this is a dangerous place to potentially be?
This type of stuff has been going on in the industry since the inception of it, of my belief. And, a lot of people were eager to go into those different layers of the party for sure. I call them they're really like swinger parties, to be honest.
Hmm. Now, beyond even just the parties, I want to talk about the fact that you've now shared this. You've tested positive for cyanide 3 times. You've had pneumonia 3 times. When you tested, when you got sick, was this after you started speaking out? There's been a lot of speculation that, and I think you've implied it, that you were poisoned, correct?
Yeah, I definitely was poisoned. My toxicology report showed that I tested positive for cyanide. And the way cyanide metabolizes into the human body is it turns into pneumonia. And pneumonia weakens your immune system, makes it hard to breathe, have you fatigued. It's almost like you just got a everlasting flu. You know, my handles on my car at the time also tested positive for cyanide. Due to my line of work and the lifestyle that I lived, you know, it was kind of hard to pin down who may have been the culprit for this. Um, Other people brought it to my attention, the connection between pneumonia, like I guess his ex-wife died from it. One of his previous security died from it. You know, supporters in the ether brought that correlation to me because, you know, we was having problems with some Serbian guys before, very dangerous. You know, we had kind of aligned them for being responsible for this. But, you know, as time went on, certain little things will start to make a connection, you know, and it's unfortunate, but it's real. It happened.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more of those threats. Jamie Foxx just recently said it. I'm going to get to you with that. I want to talk about that, but this is just scary stuff. I mean, do you think that's part of it? That's why so many people took so long to come forward, because they're just afraid of him and his circles?
Well, before he was arrested, I firmly believe people were afraid. Um, it's been released that he's on recorded calls, calling victims and witnesses and enticing them to change their story. So, you know, the things they're hearing about him, putting explosives in someone's car. We just seen a beating that he applied to Cassie. And, you know, if you pay someone $30 million in order to silence them, you know, innocence doesn't cost that much. So I think that should speak volumes.
I want to talk about the family. The family's been out there supporting. We've learned now recently that it was Diddy pushing them to actually do it. That recent Instagram post for his birthday, they said not to, and Diddy said, "It's my birthday. I'll do what I want." What do you think? There's a lawsuit against one of his own sons, right? There's a lot of questions about it. Quincy is out there promoting this reality show. Christian has been sued by a woman. What do you think's going on in the family itself? Have you heard anything as you now have sort of learned more about what's going on in the Combs' life? Do you believe that the family is just as complicit?
Well, you know, recently we just seen his sons at a party frolicking with ladies. His son Christian was saying he's got the baddest chick in the game. They just tried to physically assault Ray J outside of a party. You know, with all type of people like this, there are always certain enablers. And the legendary Dapper Dan said that he grew up with Combs' parents. And his words were, what we see going on now didn't start with Combs, it started with his parents. So, got to connect the dots there.
There's a lot of talk as well about this book and stuff, this Kim Porter book. Do you believe it? Do you think it's real?
Well, you know, I haven't had the time to actually read the literature myself, but several people have brought it to my attention. And I personally feel that us as human beings, we have a responsibility to our neighbor because in any court of law, eyewitness testimony and circumstantial evidence is enough to get someone a life sentence. So when you see people coming out telling their truth, and then you have their peers asking others, do they believe it or do I think it's real? You know, I'm not here to questions people's integrity who are admitted that they're victims or been victimized. You know, where there's smoke, there's fire. This gentleman has a extensive history of making it very clear that he won't accept no for an answer. He says he's a savage. If he wants it, he's going to have it. And this is proof right here. You know, lawyers are telling him to be quiet. He doesn't care. He's telling his family, go on here, make this post. You know, he's doing damage control to the end. And, you know, the Busby lawyer has a hotline. And according to him, he's got over 2,000 people who are filing suits saying they were victimized by this man and his co-conspirator. So, you know, it's not about if I believe it. It's about do they believe it in a court of law. And for someone to get indicted on the federal level, they must have a substantial amount of evidence against you. And, you know, very few cases do we see where Homeland Security is active on a raid for someone that's not on a terrorist watch list, and the raiding officers were not informed of whose home they were actually going to raid. So that right there just goes to show what type of reach that this gentleman has.
I've heard you talk about the tapes, or you've seen stills of tapes, not the tapes themselves, but do you think that's what Courtney has on that drive? Do you think there's just others all around? What are your thoughts on sort of the tapes out there?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Mr. Courtney Burgess at all. You know, if he was privy to certain things, if he actually had this footage on a hard drive, he would have sold that years ago, because that's worth millions. So, you know, I've seen certain stills. You know, I can't verify the validity of them. But, you know, there are certain legalities that when it comes to revenge porn and sex tapes and things along those lines, that's why a lot of stuff isn't being released at this moment. So, you know, I really can't confirm anything Mr. Burgess is saying. But I can confirm from my own testimony, I was a witness to seeing a very peculiar activity amongst this elite sector. You know, I just believe that Combs is a middleman. Period.
There's that. There's other bodyguards. That's why I'm trying to, because you clearly have you have morals. You're trying to do the right thing. I mean, you're out there mostly supporting women now. I heard most of your clientele is women, protecting them at these events and these clubs, right?
Yes, for sure. You know, ladies get the short end of the stick, no pun intended, when it comes to these type of events, because, you know, countless times have I got the phone call saying, "Oh, big homie, they told me I was going to be a star. They promised me this, they promised me that," and then they're in the hotel room after being violated, and they want to seek some sort of some sort of justice for that type of activity. So, you know, you keep hearing these same stories over and over and over. It's not a coincidence.
Do you think Diddy's other bodyguards are complicit? There's this case against former bodyguard Joseph Sherman. You know, he countersued, to be fair. But what are your thoughts on all these? And do you think his security guards were, you know, as these allegations are coming out, enabling this?
So I'll say this. If I would have been present at any time where you're being violent toward a woman, you would have went to the hospital face first. So the fact that he didn't shows what? There was some level of cooperation and being complicit by all of them in order for this type of stuff to go on without it being brought out earlier. And there's just no way around.
Have you been questioned for any of or subpoenaed by either the grand jury, the feds, or even any of these civil cases, without getting specific, but have you been questioned?
I have not been questioned. I have not been subpoenaed, simply because, you know, you're going to get a subpoena if you're on a certain amount of footage. You're going to get a subpoena if someone on the indictment places you on the scene for doing something dishonorable. So, you know, by no way will my name be attached to any type of dishonorable activity, any oppression against women or children. No rapes took place on my watch. You know, I've had to be violent toward guys who wanted to be violent toward ladies I've been protecting. And some of them are going to come speak out about that. But other than that, no.
Have you spoken to, you seem to be in the know, you have access to people. Do you know folks who have been? Have people come to you sort of explaining that or worried about it or asking
Oh,
about it?
yeah, definitely. It's a few ladies I'm in contact with who will be testifying. They're listed in the actual indictment by the federal government. So yeah, I've been in contact with a few of them and sat down with a lady. You know, she said some of the things I was saying was the only time that she heard someone else say that. So just to get some insight, yes, for sure.
So safe to say there's more that Diddy doesn't even really realize is coming his way. Do you think
Oh,
that's safe to say?
this going to be things he forgot about that's going to come back up because he's off the street now. With him being off the street, you know, and then the outpouring of support from the internet community toward victims, it's going to give people strength and a little bit more courage to speak out. So yeah, it's definitely more to come. And we're going to see a lot of different activity taking place as we get closer to the trial date, which is May 25th.
I love it, man. You keep it honest, and you've had a lot of thoughts. In fact, I want to bring you back for more because we haven't even talked about some of these celebrity quotes you've talked about. I'm talking about Ray J. We're talking about Beyonce, Jay-Z, Jamie Foxx. I want to talk about them. If you're cool for a part 2, I'd love to bring you back. Before, I just want to remind everybody to go support you because you're awesome. Make sure you're following him over on Instagram at Big Homie CC. I lost the link, but you can head over there. I'm going to get it up here live. Go to his YouTube channel as well. Big Homie Vlogs. I'm going to put him in the description. Go support Big Homie. He's a good one. I've been told this by multiple people, my man. So I appreciate the good you're doing out there, and I'm excited to hear you continue to bring the truth, and we're going to do that in part 2, so make sure you don't miss it. Hit subscribe, hit that bell for all alerts, smash that button as well, the thumbs up, leave your comments down below. We're going to bring it again. Big Homie will be back.
You got a nice show, man. I like how you got your setup going.